What's up, ICSP family? In this dimension, in this reality, in this world, there exists duality. So it's the yin and the yang. There's up, there's down, there's happy, there's sad, and most importantly, there's light and there's dark. So before we get started, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share this message. So the one thing that I'm noticing when I see spirituality is that most of the preachers, most of the pastors, most of the people at the forefront of talking about spirituality, they're not mentioning the dark side of this. And the reality is they're doing that because they know if they speak the truth of the dark side, most of you guys are going to get afraid. Most of you guys already live in fear. So you guys are scared of talking about any type of dark side as it is. But the reality is this dimension that we live in, there's darkness. That's just the sad truth. There's evilness, there's wickedness, and there's a lot of demons out here. And so what I tend to see is these pastors and these preachers will give you a sermon, or they'll really preach something on Sunday, or they'll preach something one time out of the week, and they're not really preparing you enough. So what tends to happen is you get that message, you receive it, you're happy for a couple of days, but then you go through a dark time and you're not really prepared for it. So that's why most people lose faith in spirituality or in God in the first place, because they see the dark aspect of this, but their spirit's not being built up in order for them to prepare for this dark aspects. So the journey of spirituality and spiritual awakening, it tends to start with, remotely at first, it's kind of happy because you're going through your transition period to where you're learning a lot of information, you're gaining some knowledge of thyself, you're going through a peaceful point because you're getting in tune with nature, with your inner spirit. Your spirit is starting to rise, and you're feeling a sense of joy and happiness because you're feeling that divinity, that God's state of mind. But then what happens is you go down a path of getting so much knowledge and really waking up to the truth of what's surrounding you. Most people, they're going through a transition period in their spiritual awakening to where they're having to unlearn everything they pretty much were taught because they know it's lies, and then they have to relearn. So during this point, you're also going through a transition period of where you're waking up to the people that's surrounding you. Your spiritual eyes are really starting to open up, and you're seeing a lot of people are jealous. A lot of people are envious. A lot of people are just have anger in their heart. They're not really for you in terms of that true relationship that you're seeking. And it even becomes your family and your friends. And so you become to a point where you're depressed because you're truly, truly seeing the world for what it is. And this is the dark aspect of it. Because in order for you to truly, truly find yourself in that darkness, you have to go to the core of the darkness. That's where a lot of people truly begin a path of becoming an enlightened individual. When they go through the dark, dark side of it, they find themselves for who they really are. A lot of people have trauma. A lot of people have deep down pain and suffering that they just put in the deep parts of their brain, and they don't want to revisit that. But that's what this true spiritual awakening is. When you go to those deep, dark aspects of whatever you have, whatever pain that you have, a lot of people numb themselves and they do drugs, they smoke weed, they'll drink liquor, and that's how they cope with the things. But that's one way to handle this dark aspect. And that's what I'm saying. Most of these pastors, most of these preachers, most people that talk about spirituality, they don't want to give you this real truth. This is the real truth, because if you're going down a path of speaking about the dark side, most people are going to be afraid because most people live in fear. The fear is, most people are afraid to die. They're afraid to see themselves for who they really are. They're afraid of living in poverty. They're afraid of challenging somebody. So you're afraid of confrontation. Most people live in you're afraid of a virus. You're afraid of germs. You're afraid of the media. Most people are so afraid, and you're such a low vibration that if I come talking this real truth, you don't want to go down spirituality. You don't want the true spirituality aspect of managing the light and the darkness. Because most people, once you get to a point of when you're really becoming enlightened, you can balance the light and the dark, and you have to be able to get to that true point of managing the darkness and the light, because this world, this dimension that we live in, there's, in my opinion, especially the times that we're living in right now, there's truly more darkness in this world than I see light. I see more people becoming anxious, more people becoming depressed, more people becoming hopeless, more people want to turn to drugs, more people just literally on a day-to-day basis, they're sad, especially because most people don't realize that there is a higher power. Whatever your higher power you want to believe in, there is a true source, a true creation. So if you're not tapping into that divinity, you're not really able to gain the light that you need to shine that light on this darkness. So you're just getting consumed by the darkness even more. And that's why most people turn and they don't really want to go down this path. And that's what I'm saying. If most of these people speaking about spirituality and, peace, love, and light, and they're always giving you this message, they're getting the followers, they're getting the views, they're getting the subscriptions, but at the same time, they're not giving you the real truth. It's my duty to speak the truth. And trust me, guys, when you're really speaking this truth and I'm giving you guys the real raw truth, most people don't want to hear this. You guys don't, the majority of people don't want to hear this aspect. The truth will make you an enemy because most people are living in lies and they're really working for Satan himself. So I think it's time as a family to where if you really want to talk about spirituality, you cannot be afraid of the dark aspect of it. You have to be able to channel the dark side and do your shadow work. Whatever demons that you have, whatever fear that's stopping you back, whatever evil that you're afraid of, go down that journey if you really want to talk about spirituality. Now, one thing that I want to mention too is that a lot of people talk about truly becoming egoless, and that's part of the process that I was talking about when you're relearning and unlearning, because you're detaching yourself from the ego that you created. You understand that you are one with the source, with creation, that you're a spiritual being having a physical reality. And so what tends to happen is most people will know that and they'll think that they can 100% detach yourself from the ego, which is not true. In this world that we live in, you do need ego. Ego is what keeps you alive. It's what protects you. It's what helps you attract the opposite sex. So the ego is something that you definitely need in this reality. You have to know how to balance and go between both dimensions there. So, some of this talk can get real complex because you're really rising in consciousness. But on a fundamental level, we have to be able to know that this world has duality. There's light and there's darkness. The majority of people, you're going to experience some type of pain. You're going to go through suffering. And if you're not preparing yourself in that aspect, you're just going to go down a darker path. And you're not even understanding the fact that in order for you to truly get past that point, you have to really embrace the full darkness for what it is. And you have to learn how to manage both of them and be able to go in and out. So this is something that's been weighing on my heart. And I see a lot of people talking about spirituality and they're saying that this is, they're just making it so positive and so happy when that's not the reality. When you become awakened, you'll go through depression, you'll feel sad, you'll lose friends. People won't be able to relate to you no more. You see the truth for what it is, and you have a hard time not speaking the truth. You want to speak the truth at all times because you know things aren't right. You're literally not gonna fit in at all, and that's why most of these chosen ones, they know what I'm talking about, and you guys can relate. But for the majority of people, they get a taste of the truth. They understand the truth. They get a little glimpse of what awakening can be, and they get afraid, and they don't want to detach themselves from being in an environment to where everybody loves them and everybody's happy. Because once you really get awakened, most people are going to hate you. They won't love you anymore. It's just the sad truth. They're not going to have any love for you because you see them for who they really are. So this is something that we really need to understand at the end of the day if you really want to be awoke. So until next time, peace, love, and light, ICSP family.